She averaged 1 shower a week and called my concern male standards. Was I wrong to end things? I never thought my relationship with Mia would end over something so basic as personal hygiene. But looking back, it was the symptom of much deeper issues we both refused to acknowledge. We met during our final year at university, both of us English lit majors with dreams of writing the next great American novel. She was vibrant, opinionated, and had this infectious laugh that could light up an entire room. I fell hard and fast. For the first 6 months, everything was perfect, or as perfect as relationships can be when you're both 23 and still figuring out how adulting works. We moved in together after graduation, found jobs in Minneapolis that didn't completely crush our souls, and settled into a comfortable rhythm. Then I started noticing it. The first time wasn't a big deal. We'd been dating for about 8 months when I realized Mia had gone several days without showering. It was mid-July, brutally hot, and we were both working entry-level jobs with long commutes. I was practically diving into the shower the moment I got home, but Mia would just change into loungewear and collapse on the couch. I casually asked if she was going to shower, and she shrugged it off, saying she'd do it tomorrow. She didn't think she needed one today. I didn't push it. Everyone has their own routine, right? And who was I to dictate someone else's hygiene habits? But as days turned into a week, I started to notice a distinct odor whenever we cuddled on the couch or slept beside each other. I gently suggested a shower before bed one night. Her response was simple but firm. She'd showered 3 days ago, and women don't need to shower as often as men because they don't sweat as much. I wasn't convinced, but let it go. That became our pattern, me noticing, gently suggesting, her dismissing. A few months into living together, we joined a local gym as part of our Get Healthier Together kick. I was hoping this would naturally lead to more showering, since who doesn't shower after a workout? Apparently, Mia. After our first session, she packed up without heading to the locker room. When I questioned this, she claimed she barely broke a sweat and would shower when we got home. The damp patches on her t-shirt suggested otherwise, and the promised shower at home never materialized. Our gym sessions became a regular thing, 3 times a week, sometimes 4, and each time, the same scenario played out. I'd shower at the gym while she waited, or she'd promise to shower when we got home, but never actually do it. I started keeping track, not in a creepy way, just out of genuine concern, and realized she was averaging about 1 shower a week, maybe 2 if circumstances aligned just right. I tried addressing it indirectly. I bought expensive shower gels and scents she mentioned liking. I suggested shower sex with a playful wink. I even installed a fancy new shower head with multiple settings as a surprise gift. Nothing worked. Meanwhile, our physical intimacy was taking a serious hit. I used to love going down on her. It was something that made her feel incredibly good, and I enjoyed giving her that pleasure. But as her hygiene declined, so did my enthusiasm. The natural scent of a body is one thing, but the accumulated sweat and odor after days without washing, plus workout sessions, it was becoming a genuine turnoff. One night, after we'd both had a couple of beers, I finally broached the subject directly but gently. Her reaction was immediate defensiveness. She insisted she showered regularly, then pivoted to claiming it wasn't healthy to shower every day because it strips the skin of natural oils. When I tried to focus specifically on post-gym hygiene, she interrupted to reiterate that women don't sweat like men do, and she was fine. The conversation ended there, with nothing resolved. I tried to convince myself it wasn't a big deal. People have different standards of cleanliness, different body chemistry. Maybe she really didn't sweat much, though the evidence suggested otherwise. But things got worse around the 8-month mark of living together. Mia discovered the sauna at our gym and became obsessed. She'd sit in there for 20 minutes at a time, sometimes longer, about twice a week, and she still wouldn't shower afterward. I couldn't understand how anyone could spend that long in a sauna and not need a shower. On the drive home one day, I mentioned that I was dripping with sweat after just 5 minutes in there. Mia maintained that her body was different, and she didn't sweat much even in the sauna. I knew this wasn't true. I could smell her. The car rides home from the gym became increasingly uncomfortable, with me discreetly cracking a window while pretending I just needed some air. Our living space started to reflect the problem too. Her side of the bed would develop a distinct odor after a few days. Her towel, which hung in our bathroom for weeks without being washed, took on a musty smell. Even her favorite spot on the couch seemed to absorb the scent. I began making excuses to avoid prolonged close contact. When she wanted to cuddle on the couch, I'd say I was too hot or that my back hurt and needed to sit differently. Our sex life dwindled to occasional brief encounters, usually initiated by her, where I'd try to focus on the parts of intimacy that didn't involve being close to the most odorous areas of her body. The breaking point came about 1 year and 4 months into our relationship. Mia had been using the sauna regularly for weeks, still averaging just 1 shower a week. We'd just returned from the gym, and she wanted to lie on the floor of our living room to look at a world map she'd recently purchased. She invited me to join her, patting the floor beside her so we could talk about all the places we wanted to travel together. I tried, I really did. But after barely a minute, the smell was overwhelming. It wasn't just sweat. It was the accumulation of days of body odor, gym sessions, and sauna visits. I abruptly remembered an urgent email I needed to send to my boss. As I stood up, Mia's face fell. She accused me of never wanting to do anything with her anymore and demanded to know what was going on. I hesitated. We'd been together for nearly 1.5 years. I loved her. But this issue was creating a genuine barrier between us, and my hints hadn't worked. I sat on the couch and asked if we could talk. She reluctantly joined me, maintaining a slight distance that I was secretly grateful for. I tried to approach the subject as delicately as possible, explaining that I'd noticed she only showered about once a week and never after the gym or sauna. I mentioned my previous attempts at suggesting showers together. Her eyebrows shot up immediately, her tone defensive as she questioned what I was getting at. When I finally admitted I could smell body odor and it was becoming an issue for me, her face transformed from surprise to anger in seconds. She immediately accused me of finding her disgusting, of no longer being attracted to her. I backpedaled, trying to clarify that everyone needs to shower regularly, especially after sweating, but she wasn't having it. She insisted she didn't sweat like I did, then rapidly escalated to accusations about me trying to control her, having unreasonable beauty standards, and being the reason our sex life had declined. What I'd hoped would be a calm, reasonable discussion spiraled into a one-sided barrage of accusations. When I tried to explain this was about basic hygiene, health, and consideration, not beauty standards or control, she threw past boyfriends in my face, claiming they never had a problem with her showering habits. I wondered aloud if they truly had no issue or simply never brought it up. That only enraged her further. She stormed off to the bedroom, slamming the door behind her. For the next week, things were tense. We slept as far apart as our queen-size bed allowed. Conversation was minimal and strained. I noticed she showered twice that week, more than usual, but made a point of not acknowledging it, worried it would restart the argument. Just when I thought things might be improving, Mia reopened the wound. While preparing dinner one evening, she suddenly asked if I still thought she was disgusting. I carefully explained that I never said she was disgusting, just that regular showering is important, especially after sweating. She pressed, asking directly if I thought she smelled. It was a trap, and I knew it. But I was also tired of dancing around the issue. I admitted that yes, sometimes she did smell, especially after the gym or sauna when she didn't shower. Her response was immediate and dramatic. She put down the knife she'd been using to chop vegetables and declared that if I found her so repulsive, Maybe we shouldn't be together. I tried to clarify that I loved her and was attracted to her, but needed her to understand that personal hygiene was important for her health and our relationship. Her challenge was stark and unexpected. Break up with me then. Her tone had gone cold, almost daring me to end things. I was stunned by the abrupt escalation and insisted I didn't want to break up, just to discuss issues in our relationship like adults. She shut down the conversation by framing my concerns as an attempt to control her body. The discussion ended in a stalemate, with her retreating to the bedroom again, and me left wondering how something so basic had become such an insurmountable problem. Over the next few days, I started noticing other issues in our relationship that I'd been overlooking. Mia rarely initiated household chores, expecting me to handle most of the cleaning, cooking, and organizing. She'd complain when things weren't done, but rarely offered to help. She expected elaborate gestures of love and affection from me, but gave little in return. I began to realize the shower issue wasn't just about hygiene. It was about consideration and reciprocity. She wasn't willing to do something as simple as maintain basic cleanliness, despite knowing it bothered me. What did that say about how she viewed my needs and feelings? A week after our last argument, I tried once more to have a conversation about what had happened. I suggested there might be something deeper going on, as her reaction seemed disproportionate to the issue. Mia dismissed the idea that she was triggered, insisting she just thought it was ridiculous that I was so hung up on her showering habits. When I pointed out that we were in a relationship, sharing a bed, a home, and intimacy, meaning her choices affected me too, she immediately accused me of making it all about sex. I admitted that yes, it was affecting our intimacy, but emphasized it was more about consideration for each other's comfort and needs. She grew increasingly agitated, accusing me of looking for excuses to break up with her. When I questioned why I would be trying to have this conversation if I wanted to break up, she shouted at me to just do it if I found her so disgusting. Her extreme reaction made me pause. This wasn't normal. Most people, if told gently that their partner had concerns about hygiene, might be embarrassed or defensive initially, but would ultimately address the issue. Mia's response was disproportionate. I carefully asked if something in her past made this topic particularly sensitive for her. Her expression changed, just for a moment, before the anger returned and she accused me of psychoanalyzing her. But that brief flicker told me there was more to the story. Over the next few days, as the tension continued, I started noticing other red flags. Mia would mention ex-boyfriends frequently, usually to compare me unfavorably to them. She'd talk about male friends who supposedly appreciated her more than I did. Yet she never seemed to have female friends. Whenever I asked about her friendships with women, she'd dismiss them as dramatic or untrustworthy. One evening, after yet another tense day, she unexpectedly opened up. While sitting on opposite ends of the couch, she quietly admitted that her ex used to complain about how she smelled too, making her feel horrible about her body. She revealed that her mother had been obsessed with cleanliness, forcing her to shower twice daily and use numerous products because women always need to smell like flowers. It had made her feel her natural body was something to be ashamed of. Finally, some context. I expressed genuine sympathy for what she'd gone through. Acknowledging it explained a lot about why this topic was so sensitive for her. She looked hopeful, asking if I understood now. I clarified that while I understood why she felt the way she did, it didn't change the fact that basic hygiene remained important for health reasons and for sharing space with others. Her face hardened again as she accused me of still wanting her to change. I suggested we both needed to understand each other's perspectives and find a compromise, not expecting her to shower twice daily like her mother wanted, but once a day after the gym or sauna seemed reasonable. Her response shifted the conversation from personal hygiene to gender politics. She demanded to know why she should compromise on her body, accusing men of always trying to tell women what to do with their bodies. She had thought I was different. The conversation had moved beyond personal hygiene to something much broader. I tried one last approach, asking if the situation were reversed. Would she want to be intimate with someone who didn't shower after working out? Her answer stunned me. She insisted women were different from men, naturally cleaner, and not needing to shower as often. According to her, men had invented hygiene rules to control women. I carefully suggested this wasn't scientifically accurate, as everyone sweats and produces body oils regardless of gender. Her dismissive response, "Of course you'd say that, you're a man," made me realize we had reached an impasse. This wasn't just about showering anymore. It revealed fundamental differences in how we viewed relationships, compromise, and even reality itself. I quietly suggested we needed to consider whether this relationship was working for either of us. She expressed incredulity that I would end things because she wouldn't shower on my schedule. I explained it wasn't about that, but about our inability to have a reasonable conversation about something important to me without it turning into an argument where she questioned my motives and character. After a long silence, she demanded to know what fundamental incompatibilities I was referring to. I listed several: her assumption of the worst about my intentions, her lack of consideration for how her choices affected me, and her tendency to turn discussions of problems into personal attacks. She stood up, declaring that she deserved someone who accepted her exactly as she was, without trying to change her. Her parting shot, "Women are holy. We shouldn't have to conform to male standards of anything," left me speechless. The breakup happened the next day. She packed her things with minimal discussion, repeatedly making comments about how I was just like all the other men who couldn't appreciate a real woman. I tried to keep things civil, even offered to help her move, but she rejected any assistance. As I helped carry the last box to her car despite her protests, she turned to me with an unexpectedly vulnerable expression. In a quiet voice, she asked if the smell was really that bad. After a moment of hesitation, I decided honesty was the kindest approach, and confirmed that yes, sometimes it was, especially after the gym or sauna. She nodded slowly before her expression hardened again. Her final words were that she'd find someone who appreciated her natural scent, adding that men are too influenced by corporations trying to sell soap and deodorant anyway. And that was it. She drove away, and our year-and-a-half relationship ended over something that should have been so simple to resolve. In the weeks that followed, I reflected on what had happened. Could I have approached the situation differently? Probably. Was I wrong to expect basic hygiene from a partner? I don't think so. I later learned through mutual friends that Mia had a pattern of short relationships that ended for similar reasons. Her unwillingness to compromise on issues that affected her partners. She had trouble maintaining friendships with women because she viewed them as competition and preferred the attention and validation she got from men. The hygiene issue was just one manifestation of deeper problems. For my part, I learned the importance of addressing issues directly rather than letting them fester. I should have had the shower conversation much earlier, before resentment built up. I also learned that some differences are truly irreconcilable, not because of the issues themselves, but because of an unwillingness to see another person's perspective. Sometimes, loving someone isn't enough. You also need compatibility, respect, and a willingness to consider each other's needs. Mia and I had love, but we were missing those other crucial elements. As for her, I hope she finds what she's looking for. Someone who will put her on the pedestal she seems to want. But that person isn't me. I want a partnership of equals, with mutual respect and consideration. All power to her. I'm moving on.